Hello everyone and welcome. This is going to be going through a quick little Deadlock update that just released that will be part of the new bi-weekly kind of process they're doing for releasing updates, since they're ramping up a lot of development on characters and want to have these big releases rather than these more frequent smaller releases. So our first release here introduced the new character, Viscus. Viscus is seemingly a more supportive type character, and we'll get to talking about them more later since they are kind of the meat of this content, but I want to touch on some other things that were in the update first before we start getting into their general moveset and just initial impressions of them first. Viscus is probably the character I've been looking forward to the most in terms of the unreleased characters that were available in the sandbox mode, and I'm just excited to see where the rest of the development goes. But let's get into some of the other changes first. First of all, they reworked the entire build system, so now you can sort them into categories, so now you can be like, oh, I'm using these items for early game, mid game, late game. I'll pop up a video on the screen that was used as an example, just so you guys can kind of see what was done with the new build system. It's kind of cool, though I will note that you guys will hopefully have kept your old builds saved, at least in terms of picture form, because all your builds have probably been wiped. Aside from that, your required hero roster for entering into a game now has been lowered from 4 to 3. On top of that, there's been a bunch of new performance updates that hopefully make the game run better. On top of that, there's also been the addition of a bunch of new sound effects and voice lines, such as for the character Ivy. There's also been a couple of map changes that I'll briefly go over. I won't be going into all of them, but there are some pretty notable ones here that you probably want to know about. First of all is the new walker changes. They've completely redesigned the yellow and purple lanes in terms of their walker locations and changed that general area so there was a lot more interactivity going on there. Teleporters have also been reworked in terms of location now, and hopefully will now be more integral to gameplay for a lot more people. They also added a connection from the underground teleport station to the outer lane guardian. Blue and orange lanes now have tunnels that connect to the mid-boss. Various other minor map changes have been made that I won't mention here. In terms of other miscellaneous changes, soul orbs will now have randomized directions in terms of where they will pop out of enemies from, so you won't be shooting in the same kind of area as you were before. Stamina regen, sprint speed, zipline boost, ammo count, and power-up duration have been increased universally between all the casts. A brand new item called the Pristine Emblem was introduced. This item gives plus 25% weapon damage, plus 12% spirit damage, and plus 12% spirit armor. You also gain an additional 25% damage on any target above 50 HP. The rest of this update was some quality of life updates, along with some tweaks to balance all characters and items. I won't go into specifics, but I will try to go and flash some of the changes on the screen just in case you're curious. But with all that out of the way in terms of the boring stuff, let's get into the meat of this big update. Viscus. Viscus is a brand new character that comes from the Bermuda Triangle. They're a pretty interesting character that I'm really excited to see how they're played in terms of their developed meta. They have some interesting tools, such as the ability to shoot at the slime ball that when upgraded will have this additional bounce. It also leaves this little slime path that when walked on by enemies will slow them down. There too is this weird support ability that when used on allies and yourself, encases you in this weird cube and you're not able to do anything in it, but it regens you and makes you invulnerable while you're inside of there. It's a basic like survival kind of thing, and maybe could be good for some good clutches. Viscus's 3 is this weird punch move that is this kind of AoE attack we haven't quite seen from this game yet. You basically place it on the ground and it'll punch up after a little bit of a delay. You could do a lot of interesting stuff with this, like you punch it off of walls towards you, and potentially combo people into you. So if someone's trying to take cover, maybe you can push him out and then like punch him, something like that. It could be a pretty cool tool. He has a lot of really funny voice lines. One of my favorite voice lines is actually this. The cube. He's a funny little guy. And his last ability is his ult, which is this weird rolling ability. It kind of works like Wrecking Ball's ability from Overwatch, but you're able to speed it up, and when you run into people, it stuns them. This applies to enemies too, but I'm kind of a little too upgraded to really show that here. But he has a lot of really interesting abilities. I'm just interested to see the synergy between. I'm excited to see how his meta develops, and he seems like a really interesting character, considering we haven't had many support characters in the game. Like, there's probably Dynamo and what? Ivy? That's about it in terms of support characters. So I'm just excited to see another character in that lane added to the game. I like his design too, and again, his voice is so cute. Like, come on.
This is relaxing.
He's such a cute guy. I'm excited to see some of the stuff that people make for this character, and I'm excited to see how his meta develops. He's really cool, and he seems like a really interesting character to me at least. But that's about it for this week's update. I'm really excited to see some of the changes Deadlock has coming to it while we get closer to the release and initial review of this game. It's just going to be so cool to see this game develop, and now the fact we're getting new characters and stuff is just so sick. But for now, that's about it in terms of this video. If you guys enjoyed this, please keep an eye out. I'll be posting more videos like this in the Discord anytime an update like this drops. So if you don't want to read through the patch notes and don't really have the time to really check out a lot of the stuff, if you're like away or something and can't access your computer, you can just check out my video series. But for now, thank you guys for watching. This has been Sleep, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.